welcome to my channel. If you've never been on the channel before, this is a place where you can find some cool historic Brawl builds, sometimes based on flavour, like my last couple of decks. Check those out if you're into decks based on Dark Souls or maybe even Avengers. There's a few other kind of themes in the channel as well. And if you've been here before, then welcome back. Today we will be looking at AO, the Dawn Sky. So it's a pretty unique general in that it kind of wants to die, and that's what all the dragons from Kamigawa seem to want to do. It's kind of weird. It's a bit like Mr. Meeseeks from Rick and Morty. They only exist to do one thing, and when that's happened, they just go away forever. But this is quite a cool dragon. I think it's probably my favourite one because when it dies, you get to look at the top. So let's read it. So look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put any number of non-land permanent cards with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So that's the thing we're going to go for mostly in this deck, the death theme. But you can also go for the other route, which is put 2 counters on each permanent you control that's a creature or vehicle. So that's if you want to go wide. But I'm going to focus on the top part. So it's a lot like Collector Company, if you've ever seen that in green. And you essentially want to build the deck to have a really low curve. There's only one 5-drop in the whole deck. This is basically the only permanent we can never ever hit with AO. But it's so good that I really wanted to include it. It just does so many things. Exile something, return something back from your graveyard to play. So don't forget this says total mana value 4 or less. So this is why the 2 drops are so plentiful, because we're going to try and hit 2 of these as much as we can. And we've got quite a few 4 drops as well. There's a few ways to even enable AO dying, because sometimes I've found that when you want your stuff to die, it won't die, and people will avoid killing it. But I've included some unique cards like Angelic Purge, which is pretty sweet. You can sack a permanent to exile an artifact, creature, or enchantment. So after you're done attacking with AO, you can then sack it to Angelic Purge to then get rid of something you don't want to see. And that could be a really useful way to get rid of something. And then obviously you lose AO, but then you're going to get potentially 4 mana's worth of stuff from the top of your deck. So that's really useful. You can put more cards in the deck that utilise scrying effects, and scrying is obviously letting you look at the top card and seeing what you get on top. So there's a Charming Prince in here to do just that. He can scry to you when he comes in, you can gain 3 life, or you can flicker something. So all those modes are pretty useful. But yeah, the deck list will be in the description below. There's a few ways you can build the deck, so you tell me how you'd like to build your version or not. And yeah, let's get into some gameplay then. Stay tuned for after the video to see my thoughts about the gameplay and some of the matchups. Might even gain a few more insights into the deck itself. Let's get into some games. Opponent gets first with Polukranos, and our hand is kind of... It's risky, right, because we don't have enough lands, but our removal is insane. We have 4 pieces of removal here. So, okay, we hit land drops, so we should be okay. The swords is fantastic versus their escape commander, so we need to keep this to get rid of that. Play the tap land and pass the turn. Replicating ring. Okay, I do like the breakneck speed here. This is lovely. It's nice. There is such a delight in playing people who know exactly what they're doing. It's such a good feeling. I think that's what makes a game fun, right? Playing someone who knows what they're doing. The worst part for me is playing people who kind of know what they're doing, but just take forever about it. So, putrefy, okay. And yeah, we've just got removal, so we're just going to have to wait for their stuff to come out. Hopefully they don't have a way to exile AO. Winding Constrictor comes out, and they can also go for Polukranos as well. In normal scenarios, this would be absolutely horrifying, but we have the absolute nut draw here. Redain. But I think, for now, we're going to go for AO. Because ultimately, I don't mind if they go for Polukranos again, because it's 6 mana, so it takes the whole turn. And they can't use the fight on it yet. So, it's all good. So first thing I want to do, swing over the top. And we're going to do the old angelic purge trick. So get rid of the general. And my own, but it has to be done, unfortunately. Let's see what we hit here with AO. Oh, wow. Okay. Some spectacular cards here. I think the Cosmos Elixir is probably the best. It's going to help us in the long run. And let's get rid of their snake. Their solid snake. And yeah, we draw a card end of turn. Lovely. And we have another way to kill their general as well. So now it's 4, 5, 6. They're quite a far way off. Obviously the replicating ring, if that goes off, they're going to get pretty much infinite mana. Sweet. What should we do? So we can also get rid of the Destiny Spinner. 2 or less. That's 3. That's 3. Let's put the Destiny Spinner down a hole. Pretty sweet. Lucky as hell. And then yeah, I'm going to play this as the Valkmira. Because they're green-black, they probably have a lot of targeted spells. So Valkmira is a nice way to defend us a bit. Whenever they target one of our other permanents or creatures, they have to pay 1. Ooh, Apparition. We've just gotten so lucky versus the Pokenos player, so I do feel a bit bad for them. Maelstrom Pulse. That is unfortunate, but at least the Elixir drew us a couple of cards. So I'm definitely going to get rid of the Rep Ring now, otherwise it means they can literally cast Pokenos for the next 5 or 6 turns. Oh, okay. That was pretty lucky, to be honest. I've never seen so much removal, but moving on to the next one. Okay, so next up we're facing Ishin, 2 Heavens 1. There'll be a double attacking Mardu strategy. And our starting hand is pretty decent. We've got a couple of ways to ramp up. Lithoform Engine with AO would be pretty good. That is the dream, but it seems to be quite hard to do so far. Okay, so I think ramping is more important here because we could just top deck another land next turn, but we can also go for the Birth of Meletis as well. This guy gets more counters whenever it attacks with another creature with greater power, and they can remove counters to destroy artifacts and enchantments. So we might want to find a way to kill this soon. So against this Mardu deck, board wipes are going to be what we need here. What's better? Maybe Ornithopter or Lumbering Light Shield? Not really sure. They're both going to be powerful, aren't they? I think Ornithopter just to get us to 5 mana next turn, hopefully. We'll see. This has to attack alongside something with greater power. Okay, oof. So many ways to... so many triggers here. Wow, this is already a 3-4. No blocks. Down to 17. So we definitely want to get AO out here. Now, the thing is, hopefully they shouldn't be able to trigger this anymore because they have to attack with something stronger. But they can already remove 2 counters to destroy something. So we'll see just what they do. Alpine Houndmaster comes in, searches for a couple of dogs. Pretty cool. Although he doesn't have them in the deck. Interesting. But whenever it attacks, it gets +X+O, X number of other attackers. That's still actually pretty good then, without having the dogs that it fetches. But I think I would still put the dogs in just to give me more attackers. And they can do this at any time, so that's kind of scary. So it's definitely want to get the Basri Cat out here. And then we're going to put a counter on AO, because they can just kill any artifact or enchantment. It's kind of worrying.
I will guard
So let's put another creature out here. Yeah, we'll put the counters on things that... And this does have vigilance, so we can even swing in. And they don't have any reach or fly. So let's see how we do. If AO dies, we still have some hope. Adventurer and Magda. Wow, their attack force is pretty insane. If they have an Ember Cleave, we could be in trouble. But I still feel quite safe, to be honest. Coming in at us. Okay. That's a 10 too. Wowzers. So we definitely want to block this. And I think we're going to block this. And this. So something of theirs is going to die. That was a pretty ballsy move, to be honest. Okay, so what do we want to do now? 15. They're going to have so much power. Let's give it the Lithiform engine. So now we can double AO's death trigger when he dies. And then we can put another counter on something else. Maybe the Ornithopter. Yeah, we don't want to double that trigger. And I'm happy to pass the turn. Let's see what they do now. It's kind of scary. Okay, so no Ember Cleave. That's good. They are going to get so many triggers if they do this attack again. Do they Alpha Strike? They leave Ishin behind. Makes sense. Certainly a very well constructed Ishin deck. The curve is very low. It's almost like Ishin is the top end. Makes perfect sense in an aggro build. Yeah, I think I definitely want to try and kill this. So 11, 3. Maybe it could be time to block something big like this. And then also like this. And then probably like this as well. So we will lose our entire force. But let's activate the engine here to double AO's trigger. And let's, fingers crossed, we get something good. Okay, so we get 2 things for the first hit. Not too bad. We get lifelink, which is always good. And we also get a hole and a giant killer. Yeah, not too bad. We can exile... I think we get rid of the Goblin Barret. Mana Tithe. Okay. So we should be able to endure yet another hit. Let's put another counter on... So let's go for the lifelink this time.
Now is the time to strike.
And yeah, happy to go for the AO. So this time, if it dies, we won't get double triggers, but it's got Vigilance, so probably swing in with that. They'll have to double block to kill it. Okay. Let's see if we can survive another hit here. AO gave us a lot of advantage. Ooh, so they've got Chain Flail Centipede, so they can reconfigure that. So this has got 3/3 when it attacks, it's going to get +4. Okay, so we're going to... I think I definitely want to kill this, to be honest. Oof. We are pretty low. So this has got... Oh no, it doesn't have Menace. Okay. Might as well just block that with that then, gain some life. And then we can block this with anything, right? It doesn't really matter. Not got trample. So we actually gained life from that exchange. It's going to be difficult for the opponent to come back from Bazriket's ultimate here.
This was a hard loss.
But props to them for staying in to see what
We
happens.
will be found worthy together.
I could have doubled that as well with the lithiform engine, but for now, let's just swing with these guys. That's 11 damage. Okay, and happy to pass the turn, leave up all of our blockers. I'm not sure what they need. They don't have 7 mana for Ruinous Ultimatum. Trusted Pegasus, okay. Pretty sure that's game over then. Let's draw a card for the Maze Mind Tome, see what we get. And then we can even use this guy to tap their Ishin. And we can copy it. And that's game. Okay, so I think I'm facing the guy with the best gamer tag known to man. Royale with cheese. I love cheeseburgers. I'm sure most of you out there do too. Yarok, so we're looking at a double ETB deck. Going to be pretty powerful. Although that's not got an ETB, what's he doing? So I could kill this right here, right now, and I think I will do such a thing. Just to take him off his mana. Good thing about going second as well, we've got Gift of Estate, so we should be able to get some planes off this. Teferi's Tutelage, it's a mill build. Okay. Milojovic, nice. Ah, they milled our bloomin' dog that gets us more lands. Okay, so we'll go for Gift of Estates. Interesting to see how this mill deck is going to work, because I've always found mill pretty tough in Historic Brawl. It's got some great cards, but unless you're going for like a fully mono blue build like I think it's called Bruvalak, is it? Or Bruvac? Can be tricky. Solemn, so they're going to get a land. So whenever they draw, we mill 2. So we have to be a bit careful, but what to do next? Not too worried about Solemn. So I could just go for Mentor of the Meek. And we can't equip, so we'll pass a turn. I'm just going to use this ability because I'm sick of Arena prompting me if I should use it or not. Pretty sure people do this on Magic Online as well. They'll like pass the turn, but they'll tap all their mana so they don't have to press any buttons. It's a little tip for you if you just keep getting sick of, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? No, no thank you. Funny how they went for the Rejuvenator before the Yarok. Confining Conundrum. Okay. So we're not going to block, there's no point. Bazriket. This guy just keeps showing up, doesn't he? Yeah, let's do that. As I always say, if he goes off, we pretty much win the game. So put the counter on him. And so it's a 3-3. There's no point really giving the sword yet. I'd rather hold up the fateful abstinence. So they do go for Yarok. I want to kill it with the kill spot. Ultimatum. So pretty sure that means we lose the game. Let's see what they pick, and we're going to concede if it's going to be extra turn, proliferate 4 times, and Liliana. Sweet, good game. Bye. They've won. Okay, let's go versus Jadar. What have we got? I think we need a bit more mana, to be honest. 2 mana isn't going to cut it. This is even worse. Oh no, actually we do have the Birth of Meletis, so yeah, we could survive a bit. Day of Judgment's going to be mega handy as well. Generally pretty good hand. You've got the Angelic Purge synergy with the Saga. So once you've made your 0/4 wall, you probably don't need the Saga anymore for that 2 life, so you could sack it to get rid of something with the Purge. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of synergies. This Purge is actually a lot better than people give credit for. Let's say you have a treasure lying around. You don't need it. Phyrexian Reclamation, okay. So yeah, let's definitely go for the Birth because we want to do the Purged thing. And then it will be a toss-up of do we want to exile Jadar so then they can't get it back with the Reclamation? Potentially. And then it does get rid of it forever. Or we could even just get rid of the Reclamation, right? Or we could go for the Basriket. Let's apply some defense. See if they can get rid of Basriket. It doesn't really matter about the Purge because I just don't feel like these 2 targets are worthy of just doing yet. Like, that could be the wrong move, to be honest. We'll see. My logic though is that the sooner I can get this ultimate off, the better odds are of winning. Okay, so Midnight Reaper is a very good target for the Purge. If they want to damage Basriket, they're going to have to swing with both, and now it's not good because they will lose the Jadar if they swing in. Okay. So I definitely want to get around with the sciences here. Always try to establish your mana base. Go for the Light Shield. So that costs more. And yeah, we'll pump up the Lumbering Light Shield so it's an even better blocker.
I trust in your abilities.
It's surprising how good high toughness it actually is sometimes. Obviously against control decks, it's pretty pointless, but in this particular matchup it's fairly decent. Because their deck revolves around creatures. And we can try and stop them coming up. Ooh, Blade Crafter. So they're probably going to sack the 2/2 here. Well, the Defender is obviously worse because that's a 1/5. Okay, so what do we want to do? We could just wipe the field and then threaten them with the Basri ultimate. They will draw a hell of a lot. Or we could even go for AO. But then we run the risk of losing Basriket. So at the cost of giving them 3 cards, I think I'm going to have to Day of Judgment here. That could be a bad move. But we just have to cross our fingers and hope they don't have a way to answer Basri. Yeah, it's a shame we couldn't get rid of the Reaper first. That's a huge advantage they just got.
Now is the time.
But if they can't get rid of Basri, we stand a really good chance of winning this game. Of course, Vraska's Contempt. What else would it be, hey? Heaven forbid if we actually got some advantage there. Well, at least that's one less exile spell they have for AO. If they exile AO with another exile spell, it's going to feel really bad. Cling to Dust. Okay, so it looks like they're really digging for some lands, which they just drew up, I guess, because that was a really strange timing to do that. You definitely don't see mono white decks running around very often. It's pretty rare. Let's swing in first and see what they do, if anything. So if they have a languish or something, maybe it would be good to get out the Luminart Aspera just to make our stuff a bit bigger. So let's make AO more threatening here. And it's a bit ironic because they're probably going to try and target it anyway, so just giving them a bigger, juicier target. And we have our interplay with the Angelic Purge, so if they've got something that we can't deal with AO, we can just sack it to Angelic Purge, and then we can get the trigger off. We have to be careful of Extinction Event, because that would exile 2 of our win cons, essentially. We don't want them to exile Faithbound Judge, because then we can't use the other side. It has to die in order to use this from the graveyard. Pitiless Plunderer, so they can start draining us by just playing creatures out. This is a really dangerous card, because it can give them so much advantage. Authority of the Consuls would be good to give us a bit of life. I think first thing we do is swing in with AO over the top. So I feel like they're setting something up here. They've definitely got some sack synergies. Here, let's go for the winning announcement to draw some cards. And let's go for the anti-languish move. So if you don't know, languish gives all creatures -4/-4. So that isn't really going to help them out if they do play that. They are also very close to death because the Faithbound Judge will activate as a creature in a couple turns as well. So beginning of upkeep, if it has 2 or fewer judgment counters, put a judgment counter on it, and as long as it has 3 or more counters, it can attack as though it didn't have defender. Very weird wording, but it's pretty cool. I feel like they've got an effect that says sack a creature, exile a creature, or destroy. Grim Tutor. So that's going to take them to 12. Scary thing is we don't know what they're going to search for, so an Extinction Event would be terrible. It's always curious when the opponent looks at all my permanents in that way, because... Interesting. So they're going to draw a couple of cards here. Not sure why that decision took so long. It's pretty obvious you want to sack the thing that keeps coming back, right? You may notice I don't really have mercy on players taking a while, because everyone I play is using ridiculously powerful decks. So if you're going to use those decks, you need to back it up by having the pilot skills. And if you don't have the pilot skills, then why are you using these super advanced decks? I know they're advanced because that's just how the matchmaker works. I never get paired against weak decks. It's incredibly unlikely. So if you're going to play in this bracket, this presumed bracket, just, you know, come prepared at least. So they've probably got a board wipe, right? It's probably what they searched for. So what would be good to get rid of here? I definitely want to do this. I think we get rid of the monument because that drains life. And they're at 5, so I do not want them to gain any more. And so let's say they have Extinction Event. It's going to go odds, which means Adunto Vanguard is safe. If it isn't Extinction Event, then it'll be a regular destroy ability, which means that I can then just save a Dante Vanguard by paying 4 life. It's going to have to be a board wipe, right? Otherwise, what's the other option? A way to kill the Judge and the AO? But surely a board wipe does that anyway, so... Interesting. Massacre Girl certainly helps here. I don't think there's a way for me to save myself from that, unfortunately. Yeah, so even making it indestructible will not help. So they're getting a lot of treasures here. And yeah, they wipe out my entire field, so that was actually the best board wipe they could have found. So what can we get that's going to help us here? We could just go for the Wanderer. Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Speak softly.
She can exile stuff as well, which is going to be useful. They probably won't want to use the Phyrexian Reclamation because they're at 5. And now they can't gain life because I got rid of the Bontu's Monument. But we also have the Faithbound Judge as well as an alternate win con. They do have 4 mana though, so they can, you know, they can go for Jadar or something. Annoyingly, we are 1 mana off casting either of these cards, so they really kind of did a number on this there. Restoration of Aganjo is good because it gives us a land that we need. And yeah, let's exile the Massacre Girl because she's fairly annoying. She's got Menace. They probably have a way to draw cards off her though. Village Rights, Costly Plunder. Okay, fair enough. As if they needed more cards. What can they do for 2 mana? All the sack enchantment abilities are 3 mana, I'm pretty sure. There's a destroy enchantment 2 mana sorcery, but yeah, that was strange to hold priority there. I'm not sure what they could have done. Let's just maybe kill spell on the 2/2. Meat Hook Massacre, of course. X equals 0. That's interesting. Why would you do that for 0 when you are at 5? Whenever a creature you control, whenever a creature opponent controls, they would have gained life by killing this as well. Life loss, annoyingly, doesn't get prevented by the Wanderer. Right, so they're going for Grey Merchant. Interesting. So do I want to swap Tome of Legends? Yeah, let's do that. Discard this. So now I can get back... Let's get back the Aspirant, because that certainly is a clock. And... I think we go for AO, just a bit of protection in the sky. And the Wanderer can't exile anything of theirs, so we're just going to have to swing in. But yeah, it is somewhat annoying that the Massacre gains them life, and the Bastion. They gain so much life when stuff dies. They sort of need to deal with AO as well, because, well, I guess they can buy a bit of time. But they'd have to gain over 3 or 4 life just so I'm out of range. If the Grey Merchant dies, they can return it, with 2 life. Oh, okay, so Massacre Girl comes down again. So maybe I should have got rid of the Phyrexian Reclamation. This is pretty annoying, actually, not gonna lie. You just have an infinite loop. Wow, so many triggers. Okay. And all of this because I couldn't exile the Massacre Girl with the Wanderer. That is pretty sad. So I just guess we go for the Priest. We don't have anything to target with the Portable Hole, so... I'm pretty sure it's still going to die, though, because of the... she still has... Oh, no, all the triggers are gone. Okay, that's good. Right, so now let's just pray they don't have a way to get back Massacre Girl, because I really do want to exile her here. Please don't have village rights. Seriously? What are the actual odds of that? That's just insanity. That is just utter insanity. Having village rights and costly plunder, so I couldn't exile. Jeez, man. And now they're just going to pay 2 to get back Grey Merchant, which is just a piss take. And then they'll be gaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they'll take 2, but they'll gain 6, which is just absurd. Yeah, this is... If anyone wants to know how I feel playing Arena sometimes, this epitomizes it. Literally every single thing I do is just hindered. That is the game. So, making me suck a creature, sure. I still don't think that was a good play compared to the Grey Merchant play. They just kill me over time. Without even having to attack. Yeah, I'm kind of confused here. Maybe they just didn't see that play. Okay, so they get rid of our Fateful Absence. Yeah, that is pretty annoying. So I guess they're just making Grey Merchant a bit stronger. Banishing Slash. Now this gets rid of the Phyrexian Reclamation, doesn't it? We need to do this immediately. Yep, so now they can't go for the Grey Merchant. Thank goodness. Oh god, that was such a painful game. I do apologise for that, but yeah, it's like, as you could see, every single thing I was doing was just getting stopped. So, damn, that was a grind. Welcome to the post-game review show. Yeah, so what do I think of Eight of the Dawn Sky? Pretty sweet. It is unfortunate that as a monocolour deck goes, white's probably the weakest, so every matchup we have is going to be pretty rough. But I think we gave the opponents a good run for the money. Being able to get some free stuff off the top of the deck is really cool. Imagine they introduced some permanents which had 0 mana cost, and you could cheat those in as well. But obviously, you know, stuff like that normally suspend, aren't they? Or stuff that has a weird kind of prerequisite to casting it. So that could be sweet to abuse that. Anything with double triggers like Let the Form Engine, very nice when you get that out. And then you can double the triggers on either of those. You could put 4 counters on each of your creatures. Imagine that would be immense. Obviously, if you went down the vehicle route, that's probably quite strong as well, because the counters on vehicles are a bit safer than creatures, because creatures die all over the place. Vehicles tend to last a little bit longer. Don't forget, if you do make this, as I said, try not to put anything that costs greater than 5 in, because you're not going to get it. So keep the CMC low. Try and have a lot of 2-drops, because the best you're going to get is 2 2-drops, really. That's the best feeling. A 3-drop and a 1-drop is pretty good as well. Like imagine getting Shadow Spear and a Skyclave Apparition. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, you definitely want to keep the curve low. Having stuff that's 5 or greater, you just shoot yourself in the foot, because you're never going to be able to cast it. And then obviously you could have even fewer spells than me, like Day of Judgment, Gift of Estates, they're sorceries and instants. So you could go completely permanent base, which could be nice, little niche. But yeah, give it a go. It's actually fun. I would recommend making this one, actually, because you never know what you get. The randomization of it is the funnest aspect of it, and you can do some really cool synergies. If you enjoyed watching this video, why not try some of my other videos on my channel? And don't forget to support me by hitting the like and subscribe button for more content like this.